Hello everyone, good morning and welcome back to the Hearthstone ladder. My name is Rooster and this is Beast Druid. Kind of a different version of the deck than we last played, although my memory is a little foggy on the subject, so I'm not entirely sure how different this deck is. I suppose we can just check it out, but that would be cheating, wouldn't it? At the very least, I've been having some mixed success with the deck so far, but I thought it was worth checking out, and the deck overall isn't too expensive, so it might also be a decent starter deck. Except, of course, for the fact that that Fandral is a pretty good card. I suppose you can substitute him with, for example, another Druid of the Flame. But he does add a lot to the power of the deck. We might actually innervate out the Fandral here. Since I already have an innervate, I'm tempted to actually keep it, but I'm either keeping the Fandral or the swipe, and I'm really inclined to keep the swipe against the Warlock, because that's quite essential. And that means I'm looking for a bit of more early game, basically. Something bigger to innervate out would be useful, of course, but we can work with this. Probably coining out the Druid of the Saber, mostly because it has stealth, so it doesn't die. It trades well with Voidwalkers.
Another night on the prowl.
And I can mark a few charge it next turn, so that's pretty nice. Mark of Yashirash, of course. Yeah. Yeah, that has to die. That has to die, but we can arrange for that, so that's okay. Sure. Ooh, and that's something nice to do for next turn. We'll leave that for next turn, though. Yeah, and maybe we have something better to do next turn, although Innervate Violet Teacher Raven Idol doesn't sound too awful. Definitely not. And we can do some mean damage here, unless we, of course, just run into the Voidwalker. That's still fine, though. That is still acceptable. Not many other options. So I'm fine with the Battler trading into this thing now. That is acceptable, and that also means that we can actually build a board here, so that's pretty good.
Pay attention, class.
We don't get to innovate after the Violet Teacher, unfortunately. I think I'm going for another spell here. He's not too likely to be able to kill the teacher, since we're... I'm taking another swipe, I'm pretty sure. That's a pretty good card against Warlocks. He only has one minion to attack with, so unless he has a Mortal Coil, I don't see him killing the Violet Teacher here. Leaving a 5-1 open is quite risky. That, of course, could lead to a Mortal Coil, so that would be a little unfortunate. Power of the Wild plus Druid of the Saber is going to be pretty good next turn if the Teacher survives, though. So, Power Overwhelming, okay, so that means the 5-1 is unlikely to die, unless that card is a Mortal Coil, which it's not. Not convinced that Swipe here is going to be the best play, though. Well, I suppose we could still Power of the Wild, which is... it's not awful. It does clear the board, and that's actually quite powerful. We could even charge this one and save... that does a lot more damage to face. So I am kind of a fan of that. Sure, let's charge this one. And then we buff. There we go. That lives, and we deal 6 damage to face, which is not to be scoffed at, I think. Because that means he's drawing 3 less cards. And grabbing the board against the Zoolock with 2 swipes in hand, I gotta admit that feels pretty good. That does feel pretty good, and if I won't be allowed to slam into that thing, unfortunately, but that's okay.
The light protects me.
I'll let just let him do the honors, I think. Could still swipe, though it doesn't look too pretty. Let me think. It actually isn't looking as good as I imagined it would be. We could go face with the 6-2. It's a little risky in case he has some buffs. We could just go face in general. I mean, we have 9 damage here. We have double swipe. That is actually reasonably likely to finish him off in one way or another. As long as he doesn't have a buff for the Argent Squire, then the 6-2 is still valuable, I guess. So that means we could do something like this. He's unlikely to have another Power Overwhelming, I think, so we could go with this. That is also a really dangerous card to leave up, so I'm expecting him to trade the Councilman into our 6-2. Unless, of course, well, Zoo does have a lot of buffs. Ooh, that's actually an ugly thing. That is really ugly, actually. Wow. That's pretty amazing. Okay, so he gets the nice trades. That is really unfortunate. Okay, that was really greedy of us. Bad place, bad place. Entirely my own fault, though. We can still do some meaningful things here. If we swipe, that means we can Wrath for a card. I don't hate that. So we swipe here. And we Wrath for a card, or do we Hero Power? I kind of like the Wrath for a card. Oh, hello. Well, why not? And anytime he taps, he's gotta tap. He's just top decking 1-drops all the time. So not gonna win the game off of that.
Get it out! Get it out! Get in there and fight!
And if I can just swipe face twice, or that swipe's pretty good against this board still. Yeah. Swipe is still a pretty good card, guys. So I can kill everything except the 1/1 over here. I think I'm still pretty okay with that. Let's see how he deals with that. Does he see this the 3rd swipe coming? It's kind of mean. It's kind of mean. If he taps, well, he's technically not dead, I suppose. Poor guy. Poor guy. Oh, he's dead, right? No, he's not. Not entirely. Not entirely. It's not looking good now. Yeah, Swipe's a pretty good card against Warlocks. I have to admit, I have a bit of a guilty pleasure here, but that's okay. That was quite a good introduction, and if a Druid draws his swipes, then the Zoo matchup isn't all that hard anymore. Getting a good start is also rather important, and getting the Innervate out on that Violet teacher really took the wind out of his sails. I'm not sure if that is a valid expression, but yeah, that worked fine. So what else is there to say about this deck? Oh, I should probably mention I nabbed this deck list from I think it's probably Theis's deck list. At least the list was attributed to him, so I will assume that is correct. A priest. That's interesting. Okay. You don't see priests a lot, so yeah, Druid of the Saber is pretty good. I'm not keeping the other cards. Power of the Wild you still don't really want to play on the early turns, because that means you're likely playing it as a 3-2, and that is rather poor. So You generally don't want to keep that, but the deck is low curve enough that you should be able to curve out reasonably.
My greetings.
Expecting a kind of Dragon Priest here, so that means, yeah, putting this in stealth is going to be the best thing, most likely. You could have a Pyromancer and a Power Word Shield, I guess, which would make it a little unfortunate, but doesn't appear to have a Pyromancer, or perhaps he doesn't have the Power Word Shield. So that's pretty good for us so far. Going with the Mounted Raptor here and trading, most definitely. Might not be really needed to trade into the Museum Curator, seeing as it doesn't really have a whole lot to do on the board. It's kind of a leftover from the time where priests ran Valiant's Chosen, that you absolutely can't possibly let them keep minions on the board. That's a bit of an overreaction, but I am still fine with that. Are we worried about board wipe next turn? Not too much, but trading in the 3/1 does let us develop a Druid of the Flame, I guess. Or would I rather Wrath here? We could actually just develop the Druid of the Flame regardless and just keep going face. I mean, he doesn't seem to have a Pyromancer, and if he Arcanized Circles, then he still wipes the board. That's probably fine. Now the real question here is, do we 5-2? That's an interesting one. I think there's relatively little risk in using the 5-2 here. Because if it trades with the Shade, then I'm still fine with this. And now all of a sudden, this is the highest threat on the field. He's coined this one out, so there's no Holy Nova yet. That actually lets him trade properly, but I can still Wrath it afterwards. And using Shadow Word Death on this, I'm fine with that trade. So I can Wrath and Hero Power this one down. Makes my turn a little awkward. I guess we can just taunt up, right? Priests don't have a great way of dealing with this. And we'll find a way to deal with this later. I guess a Holy Nova would be pretty bad right now, but still forces the trade, still leaves us with a 1-drop. It's probably fine. Excavated Evil spends his entire turn, we still have a minion on the field. I'm okay with this. I'm not okay with this 1-drop. That is a little disappointing, I will admit. Let's go for the stealth here. You kind of have to take a bit of an aggressive approach with this deck, and I do think we got some meaningful face damage in. Maybe had a little. No, the trades may have looked a little bad, but I think the 2-5 was still warranted. The 5-2 was still warranted. That really threatened to do a whole lot of damage. So I'm fine with that. That basically forced him to Excavated Evil, so that's fine. I do wonder what the card is that he took from me. I am kind of curious about that. So what's the play here? We could actually kill that and develop a Druid. Yeah, I'm relatively okay with that. We could also just go face if we're developing a taunt, right? If we're going face, what could bite us here? I guess an Arcanine. It's not really too bad. I am relatively okay with this trade, sure. We could mark off Yashiraj, which would allow for 2 more face damage. Poses a real threat, I guess. Is it better than Hero Powering? I suppose it's better than Hero Powering, sure. Could have drawn the card first, of course. But let's put some real threat out there. Might even convince him to Flash Heal Face or something. So that's fine. Holy Nova could come out, that's fine. Flash Heal Face is fine with me, because he's not He's not combining it with Organize in that case, and that's really good for me.
Embrace the void.
Still gets a circle trade. Ah, that's still relatively expensive. We can swipe his face now. That's not particularly great actually. We could build a board. We can still build a decent board here. Let's draw a card. That is also a fine trade. That card isn't particularly useful right now, but this is definitely okay. So let's see if he has another answer. Also buffs the Violet Teacher up to 4 attack, which is really meaningful. And tombs it, that's fine. Another Museum Curator, I guess. But what else could he have here? What else could he have? I don't know. I'm actually curious right now. Would like to see... Well, I guess that's still fine. We're not drawing a card off of it, but it's acceptable. Do we buff the Teacher in that case? I think we buffed the Teacher, even though we're getting a bit less damage in. I am pretty sure we are buffing something. Buffing the Teacher would prevent Power Word, Shadow Word Pain, and I think that's actually kind of important. It's worth the loss of damage, I think. He could have another Shadow Word Death, which would kind of suck, but he's already used one of those. There's actually a pretty decent chance that he doesn't have it, so... If that's a thing that happens, then so be it. What's the second spell? Is that wipes 1 token, Shadow Word Pain on the token? Okay, so we guessed correctly. I'm always glad to see that. And doesn't have a way to deal with the Teacher, so that's pretty good for us. Okay. Well, doesn't yet have a way to deal with that. What would be the death rattle card he would pick in this occasion? I don't know. Oh, that's... okay, that's interesting. Well, I guess we're killing that. Are we just making a few more tokens and then swiping... I guess we could just innovate for a token. That's fine right now. It's basically a wisp. I'm okay with wisps. And I do think we have to put on some pressure here. So let's do that. Swipe face in that case? No, I think I actually need to kill that Museum Curator. So let's do it this way. And then Savage Roar pretty much kills him next turn. Even... no, not... It doesn't kill him with just the Violet Teacher, so if he clears the 2 apprentices, then he's still safe. But if he kills 1 apprentice, is he dead to the Teacher? Yeah, that's basically what I was thinking. So I have 6. 6 and 6 means 12. So that still means he's dead. He would have to, yeah, he would have to Shadow Word Pain a token, and then he still has a turn. That does it, right? I have the mana to do it. That means 3 and 5 and 4. That does it. All right. There we go. That was pretty good. That was actually pretty good. Oh, I should give him a well play. Oh, too late. That was a pretty nice game. so keeping on the pressure, that's kind of important. If we didn't get the face damage in early, I don't think we could have been in a position to win that game, because he did have the card advantage. And also making his Shadow Word Pains worthless. That's a big part of what made that game winnable. I think if we didn't buff the Violet Teacher with the Mark of Yashiraj, then we would have been in pretty dire straits.
Nature must be preserved.
Alright, so what do we got here? I don't think the Druid of the Claw is worth keeping. Most of the other stuff should be fine. let's see what else we got. Raven Idol on turn 1 is not awful. My opponent seems to be of the same opinion, so that's okay. I kind of like the Raven Idol even in a deck like this, especially, well, in most decks with Fandral or with Violet Teacher. Raven Idol is actually a pretty good card, but oh well, double innervate. I don't hate innervating out the Raptor in that case. We kind of want to Wrath for a card at some point. I guess we could Raven Idol since he's not doing anything, but getting the Raptor out is kind of valuable in its own right, right? I think I'm okay with this. Using the Raven Idol at a later point does give you a better idea of what exactly you're looking for. So there's the advantage in that. If you don't anticipate you're using the card that you get from Raven Idol until a later point, then it's not really that important to use it right away. So we could Druid of the Saber here. Could also Raven Idol and hope to get something useful. I think Raven Idol is... I think Druid of the Saber is still fine. There's not a whole lot of answers to that card. Does give us some better top decks, and we can spend the Raven Idol next turn. That's okay. I'm a little scared about what's coming out next turn, but on 4 mana is not that scary. 6 mana, however, is actually kind of scary. So let's see what we get. I may actually have to trade into that. That would be a little unfortunate, but let's see if we can discover... Do we want to discover a spell or a minion? There's a question. Maybe we actually want to discover a minion. We have a lot of spells in hand. Let's go for a minion. Something we can innervate out after we kill the Sylvanas, right? I was secretly hoping for a Keeper of the Grove here. That would be pretty sweet. But I guess a Druid of the Claw will have to do. That is a fine minion. I guess we're trading into this. We could make him trade first, actually. That does mean we're not really doing anything here, but we're not losing that much tempo anyway. I think I'm okay with that. Let's get some face damage in, let him do the first trade. And we can finish with Wrath or a Living Roots next turn. That's still fine. He could Wrath one of our minions here, but then he's not really developing the board, so that's still okay. I guess I'm still okay with that. And we could even... No, that's actually not that good. Yeah. We could make this trade and then Living Roots. I guess I'm fine with that. Sure. Let's see what kind of 1-drop we're giving to him. That is acceptable. That's the second time we are seeing that card. Kind of funny. We could also Hero Power and Wrath, but I think I like the thought of being able to innovate out of Druid here. So I kind of like that. Not too worried about leaving him with a 1/1 on the field, so that's fine. This is pretty much the strongest turn we had this turn, so that's fine. He is a lot ahead in mana. That's quite incredible. Of course, he was going first and going, and he ramped twice. I'm a little worried about what's coming up here. This has to be a ramp druid deck, so there's some big stuff coming, right? I am a little worried here. Can we Wrath for a card? I guess we're Wrathing for a... Well, then we're not playing the second Druid. That is actually a little awkward. If we're Wrathing, then our turn is utterly disappointing. We have to Hero Power, and I guess we coin the Saber, but that seems really weak. Let's just go for a second Druid here. Trade into this thing. Why are we even trading? I could have gone face there. That might have even been correct. Now we can Wrath that one down. You could have still... Wow. What is going on here? I'm not sure I understand what's going on here. But I think we have to hurry, because his hand has got to be huge. Does he have something like Deathwing? I think we gotta hurry. Are we drawing a card? I guess we can draw a card. That's probably beneficial, right? Even if he gets a Ragnaros, we are in a pretty good... Oh, that's better. Especially if I'm not hero powering this turn. I don't know what's going on here. It's gotta be something huge, right? It's gotta be something huge, but what can it be? This does give us lethal, so he'd better kill one of our minions. Alright, alright. That's acceptable. If we swipe face and hero power, we're not quite there. No, not quite. Pretty close though. If we swipe one of those things, if we swipe a treant here, and we hero power the other treant, then we're dealing 1 damage to face plus 13.
For the wild.
There we go. I'm not sure what was going on there. What was in his hand there? I'm putting him on something like Wild Growth. I don't know. I really don't know. What could possibly be in his hand that was Astral Communion, Wild Growth, Cenarius, Deathwing, something like that. I can't imagine what was going on there. But so far the deck's looking good. A lot better than it was earlier this day when I was trying it out. Had some trouble with a lot of different decks actually, mostly warriors. Speak of the devil.
Victory or death.
So they say Violet teacher tokens are actually rather weak against ravaging ghouls. So that's the main thing I'm worried about right now. Fandral on turn 2 seems pretty strong though. So I think I'm going for that, and that also means, do I keep the Living Roots around? Living Roots not too impressive against the warrior. I think I prefer keeping... Oh, this could be great. This could be great. I don't see a way for him to deal with this. Oh, he has a coin, so I guess he could slam coin execute. But this is a pretty good start. I'm kind of running out of cards, but this seems pretty good to me. Let's see how he deals with this. Could have a Fiery War Axe, and it deals with half of it, and I don't have much of a hand anymore, so I'm probably celebrating a bit early here, but I do like where this is going. What is that 1 mana card? Blood to Ichor, alright. I guess we're making use of this Living Roots then. Oh. But I kinda wanna play the Violet Teacher now. I guess I kinda have to. Let's see. He could execute this. And he can still execute it next turn, so I guess we'll let him use the execute. That's the advantage of the Living Roots, but if he has a ghoul, then that's actually really bad for us. So I guess it's going to be this one. And what's the danger of hitting face here? He could hit into this and then trade that in and then execute this. That is actually the worst thing that could happen, so I think I'm better off trading here. Because that can happen with just execute in hand, and with just execute in hand he can't deal with both of these right now. So that's a better solution, right? And Living Roots is still not awful with Violet Teacher on the field, so I'm okay with that. Kind of running out of steam, and that's a problem. That's going first and having 2 Innervates. So pretty strong tempo, but if you're running out of cards, then things are suddenly not looking too good anymore. I can't draw a card off of this turn, but I can actually... Well, I could make a few tokens and hope he doesn't have a ghoul. How's that? A little optimistic, but I kinda like the thought. How about a compromise? How about we compromise? I think I like this compromise here.
I am ready to learn.
It's not incredibly weak to ghoul right now. He could slam and then ghoul, but that's a 2-card combo and it still doesn't deal with the Violet Teacher. And if he doesn't have a ghoul here, he's pretty much dead, right? So, they always have a ghoul, but ghoul is still not that awesome, right? And is he actually dead? I have 5 minions, yes. If he doesn't clear... If he clears 2 minions right now, suppose he clears 2 minions, he has a hero power and he has a slam. I have 3 minions on the field, one of which deals 3 damage. So that would be 5 damage on the field plus 8, that's 13 damage to face, that's not lethal. Okay, I was kind of expecting that. Kind of expecting the Violet Teacher to die, and then he can hero power and clear one of the tokens. So that's 13 damage on the field. So that means a second Savage Roar would be another 8. So second Savage Roar would be lethal. I'm really motioning with my hand, but you can't see that. So Druid is going Taunt form. Doesn't have a ghoul, so that's good. Yeah, so we're just doing this. Am I scared of the Finley here? Not really. I'm tempted to trade, but what am I scared of? Execute, I guess. But he hasn't shown an execute in a few turns, so I'll just go face, and that means if he gets rid of the Druid, then I still have 13 damage, which is not lethal, but a lot of cards in my deck do give me the ability to get lethal, so that's fine. If he has execute, he can still hero power and face tank the Druid. If he weapons the Druid, do I have lethal then? Because he's taking it twice then. Okay. That's something. That's not a slam. I was kind of scared of slam. So we have 13 damage here, right? So that's 13 from 5 on the board. Savage Roar equals 8. So I definitely have lethal if I do this. Can I hero power? I can hero power. There we go. And that is quite an explosive start. Quite explosive. I didn't imagine this deck doing so well. I keep repeating myself, but this is this is actually amazing me. Especially well, I haven't. Well, Dragon Warrior is supposed to be really bad, I think, but yeah, that's a double innervate play, and not having terrible top decks. That also helps. Although I guess not many of the cards in our deck are actually terrible top decks. The Tempo Mage can be kind of bad. I think I got crushed by a Tempo Mage earlier. These cards are all good to keep though. I could turn 1 Living Roots. That's actually not unreasonable against the Mage. I would like a 3-drop to iterate out, but I'm not sure I'm getting anything better. I think I'll keep all of these, sure. Turn 1 Living Roots is not unreasonable against the Mage, I think. Unless they have Arcane Missiles or something, but... I'm not terribly upset if they Arcane Missiles this. The average result is everything dies and they take 1 damage to face, but it's not guaranteed. And I can still Druid of the Saber next turn, and Arcane Missiles is also an acceptable play against Druid of the Saber, so that's fine. That is the expected result. It's a little awkward, but it's fine. We could actually Savage Combatant here, but that makes the next turn a little awkward. And the curve just works a lot better if I Druid of the Saber here, which incidentally kind of counters Mana Warp, so that's okay. And the curve works really well if I just innervate out the Tiger next turn, and then the Savage Combatant after that. It's just a beautiful curve, and I like me some beautiful curves. Am I worried about that Cult Sorceress? I do know it's kind of dangerous leaving this thing stealth, so I guess I just innervate out the Stranglethorn Tiger. She's not used the coin yet, so she could coin out a Fireball, and I think, well, she cannot coin out a Fireball against the Stranglethorn Tiger. I think I'm okay with trading here. Sure. What am I scared of? Arcane Missiles does absolutely nothing here. She'll like to trade. She can Frostbolt this, I guess. I can Wrath that next turn. It contests the It contests the Combatant next turn, which I don't like. So I guess that's something. Yeah, it actually contests the Combatant, so I would have to kill that next turn, for example with the Tiger, and that stuff is going to get a little awkward. I don't like that. So probably heading into this, and then playing this one. And that's a pretty menacing board, I'd say. Let's see what she has to deal with. She can use a Frostbolt and a ping, but I still have a 5/4 on the board. And if she does not have Frostbolt, then things will start to get a little awkward. Flamewaker and coin, and then Frostbolt. That's a little optimistic. Arcane Blast, I guess, works. Arcane Blast and coin. Why not coin first? That's some pretty crazy... Ooh, double Arcane Blast, that's dirty. That's actually kind of dirty, but this thing still survives, so she takes a couple damage to the face. I could even Power of the Wild. I don't hate it. I can't Power of the Wild and still kill this, though.
What to do?
Unless I... No, that doesn't work. In no situation do I still kill this if I Power of the Wild, right? Because I can't Hero Power and Wrath and Power of the Wild, so I guess that means we're just Wrathing for a card. Seems really weak, though. Still the best option. Because it lets us kill that, and I guess that's kind of important. I'm forcing her into a Hero Power next turn and dealing 5 damage to face. I'm okay with it. It's not incredible. It's definitely not incredible. I would like a Violet Teacher next turn. That would be really sweet. The Flamewaker was quite excellent with its first few shots. Kinda disappointed with that. We can draw a card here though, so that's really nice. Makes this card quite excellent. I guess I kind of forgot, but I could have charged it out and killed this. That would not be terrible. Do I just cycle again? I think I cycle again. I like my huge stealth monsters. Ooh, how good is that? If I top deck an Innervate, that's disgusting. I do know that. But I don't know about this. There's a number of pretty good top decks here, I will admit. That Is that among... yeah, that is among them. And I can Power of the Wild the turn after, so that's pretty nice. These are pretty good trades still, so I'm okay with this. Kind of running into Flame Strike. Mages have been running more Flame Strikes lately. But then again, if she Flame Strikes this, am I really that unhappy with it? Not really. It's still fine. The more realistic scenario here is she doesn't have Flame Strike, and then stuff becomes a lot more awkward for her. Because that's a lot of burn used on these minions, and I've got a pretty good turn coming up, I'd say. So if I double Power of the Wild, I'm generating a 2-2, a 3-3, and a 5-7 Violet Teacher. That's pretty okay, right?
Pay attention, class.
I'm pretty much okay with that. Yeah.
I am ready to learn.
I'm not sure if that's even correct. I could have... How about instead of the... I don't know. The Power of the Wild has to come last, but I could have, instead of a 3-3, I could have had a 4-3, right? If I just did it in the other order. Well, then my Violet Teacher would have been a little smaller. I guess that's true. That's true, my Violet Teacher would have been a little smaller. So what do we do here? Obvious answer, this always happens. And I guess I'm charging this one out to make sure I kill everything on the other side of the board. I think that's actually kind of important. Running into Flame Strike, is that a problem? Is that a better trade? That is a better trade. This still always happens. Running into Flame Strike. I don't think she runs Flame Strike. She would have. She really would have Flame Striked the turn where she used a Frostbolt and a Fireball. I don't think there's. There could be a Flame Strike in the deck, but she didn't have it in her hand then. So I think the chances of her having it now are pretty slim. We've got 10, we've got 17 damage here. So definitely not lethal. How to efficiently deal with this board? There aren't too many options. We can trade the 4-1 and both of the apprentices. I guess that's fine. We can't squeeze in a hero power efficiently, right? We can do this. Not really. Not really, no. But we can get rid of some of the more inefficient minions, and I think that's valuable, so that's okay. Can we make a few more efficient trades? There are no efficient trades. No. I guess this is kind of an efficient trade in a way, because we get to keep a 1-drop, and we weren't expecting her to have Flame Strike anyway. So it's kind of protection against Flame Strike, the Raptor, but also kind of not. And we still have quite an imposing... Oh, of course. I keep forgetting about that card. That could seriously wreck our day here. Should I have not played the Violet Teacher? That could be true. That could definitely be true. Twisting that twice, wow. That's actually quite troublesome. I should not have played that second Violet Teacher, because I'm pretty much screwed right now. That was by no means guaranteed, but she has a handful of cards, and I have nothing. If I had kept, I completely forgot about Yogg. That was so silly. I just didn't remember that was a card. Okay. So yeah, playing the Living Roots here was absolutely unnecessary. How can we kill her? We top deck swipe, that's not great. We top deck this. and we get a Warlock hero power. We need a Warlock hero power, absolutely. That is not a Warlock. I think we're done. I should have hero powered first, but I don't think that really matters. We are pretty much donezo.
What to do?
I guess we take Fire Blast. We start killing that thing. I don't know. We're not running Yogg in this deck, so I think we're pretty screwed. That could be an addition. Although this deck is much more beast focused. Oh, infinite value. Oh my. So you could consider adding Yogg to this deck, but that would mean you are much more... Yeah, you also want to add a couple spells in that case. And I'm not sure that's the greatest direction ever. Let's see. She's not really adding too much to the board, just dealing damage to face here. What do we want? We want a huge minion, I think. Or a spell that draws cards. That could also be an excuse. That does count as a huge minion, I guess. We can play it here, though. We'll save it for next turn. That's okay, right? Killing this is kind of important right now, and we play the minion next turn. Could we have taken a minion that we could have played this turn? Yes, it would have been the 3/3 and the 2/2. That's not too great, though. No. I don't think that's a way to win. I don't fancy your chances, again, but if all her spells are terrible, then we could have a chance. Right? If she just has a bunch of... What would be the most terrible spell imaginable? A bunch of spellbenders. How about a bunch of spellbenders? That could be a thing. How about a bunch of ice barriers? I don't know. Let's see if that's a mirror entity. It's not a mirror entity. So as long as she doesn't have a polymorph or a polymorph board, then this can do some work. Let's see. Another Catalyst Stone. That's pretty amazing. That Yogg. That was quite a spectacular Yogg indeed. Ah, well, she's helping to draw a polymorph here, I guess. Or just something to kill me, I guess. Oh, a lot of Ice Lances in her hand. Frostbolt, Frostbolt, Ice Lance. Well, that's not an Ice Lance. That's something. Let me think. Can we, we can do this. Is that a counterspell? Can we win if that's a counterspell? Wait, then we don't kill the elemental. Well, that's okay. We have to win somehow. This is one way to win. Could be a Vaporize. Okay. You've got me convinced. Gotta play around Vaporize, man. Okay, another Frostbolt kills me. But any burn spell kills me. And that's not the card you want to see when any burn spell kills you. But I could survive for one more turn. I don't know. Not terribly likely, but yeah, there's the fireball. All right. Well, didn't play around Yogg. If I had a Violet Teacher after that, well, I also wanted to finish it quickly. If she didn't have Yogg, then she would have been pretty screwed. And playing the Violet Teacher there did increase my clock by a significant margin, I think. So yeah, sometimes Yogg happens. But otherwise this deck surprised me. It can be really explosive, a bit like Tempo Mage actually. Sometimes you get a really good curve and you just bash people's face in, and sometimes you just struggle a little bit if your opponent has some decent early game. But overall, definitely worth a try. Can be a little less explosive if you don't have a Fendrel, but still worth playing with. Definitely recommend it. In each case, that is all for today. So if there's a deck you would like to see me play, there's not a lot of room for this month, so if there's a deck you would like to see me play again, something I've played before, next month is free game. So throw your recommendations at the comment section, and as always, have a great day. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again tomorrow.